Hi, this is Coach Colette, host of the Start Within podcast, and welcome to this week's episode of Financial Fridays. Before I get into the topic for today's episode, I wanted to let you know of an exciting milestone for this podcast. Earlier this week, we crossed the 10,000 plays or downloads milestone. So thank you for listening. Whether this is your first time listening or you've been listening to us for a while, we could not have crossed that threshold without you. And I also want to say a huge thank you to all of our Coach Chat guests who continue to bring interesting and relevant, important information to you, our listeners. And of course, a huge thank you to our production team, whether you've worked on the podcast in the past or are helping with editing and production now. Definitely could not have done this without you. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but December is Seasonal Depression Awareness Month. And particularly if you are living in the Northern Hemisphere like me, you know that as we move closer to the winter equinox, that the days have been getting shorter, so that it's getting darker earlier and earlier. We want you to know that seasonal affective disorder, or SAD for short, is more than just winter blues or a seasonal funk. SAD is a real type of depression that is more commonly associated with the fall and winter months. What are some of the symptoms? They can be low energy, depressed mood, hopelessness, irritability, anxiety, poor concentration, changes in your sleep, or loss of interest in activities that you once enjoyed. Now, I know that we all have been dealing with a lot this year due to the pandemic and the lockdowns and the racial and social unrest. It's also important to be aware of how you are coping. And now that we are about to enter the holiday season, even more important to be aware of what's happening with your mental health and well-being. So what are some things that you can do if you start to notice these symptoms, even if you haven't fully moved into SAD? A few things that you can do. Make your environment brighter as much as you can. So that means in the daytime, making sure that your blinds are open or your shades are up. And as it gets darker, keep lights on. Looking at ways that you can increase your light exposure. You want to get outside. So if you can, go for a walk or take your lunch or maybe even your breakfast outside. Or take short breaks during the day to make sure that you are absorbing and enjoying the sunshine. And finally, keep a regular structure, particularly when it comes to your evenings and your bedtime. So making sure that you're not eating dinner too late, too close to bedtime, and giving yourself time to digest, and then also minimizing your screen time as it gets closer to bedtime. So those are some thoughts from me now today on seasonal affective disorder. Now get ready and listen up to today's tip from Singh.
Hi, this is Singh, aka Investing, of the Investing Podcast with your weekly financial Friday tip. Are you diversified? Do you have a diversified portfolio? A lot of us have a portfolio of mutual funds or stocks. but have you considered investing into gold or Bitcoin or other assets that can help you grow when the market is in a downturn? With that said, that is your weekly Financial Friday tip. So get diversified and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Hey, it's Coach Colette again with this week's Unplugged segment. Well, I don't know about you, but this week has been a bit of a doozy with energy. On Sunday into Monday, and actually all the way through Tuesday or Wednesday, I had issues with not sleeping well. I felt lethargic, and then even at times I felt anxious. And on Monday, there was a full moon lunar eclipse. You know me, I'm a moonie. So I started to look at what are some of the aspects of eclipses. Now, it's been said that both solar and lunar eclipses can be change agents that can help us to break free of patterns that have kept us stuck. It's also been said that lunar eclipses are unique windows of opportunity to embrace our shadow selves. You know, those negative emotions and feelings that we normally hide or suppress or repress. And the goal is, by embracing your shadow self, is that you are embracing these feelings, these emotions, without judging them or without judging yourself. The full moon is always a time of letting go and releasing. So if you combine that with the eclipse, it's really about letting go of judgment, letting go of shame, and also being able to step into the new. Now, in my business this week, I did have a couple of instances where I let go of some things. Letting go of old contacts in our marketing database, and actually, unfortunately, letting go of our connection to our former co-working space, which closed this year due to COVID. And there were many instances where I was changing the address and I felt this pang of sorrow and loss. So on Instagram, I shared a quote from Rumi that I want to bring up to you because I think it helps to set the context for all of this. And the quote is, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." So we are now in December. Woohoo, we made it. And we know that this has been a tough and challenging year in many ways. And as we approach and go through December and approach the end of the year, I thought I would start giving you some prompts to begin your December reflection as well as your January or 2021 planning. And you know me, I like to say that we can ease into these things. So I'm just giving you this sense and this heads up in this first Friday of December, and see if you can channel some of the energy from the full moon lunar eclipse. What aspects of your shadow self can you now embrace without judgment? What perhaps shadow aspects of 2020 can you embrace without judgment? Again, just starting to reflect. We're going to ease into this, and I will guide you through it every step of the way. So, take some time to regroup, to reflect, to pause. Make sure to stay hydrated. Be well. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will be speaking again soon. So what is your takeaway from this week's Financial Fridays segment? What might you do differently around your money and your mindset? For more financial advice, you can check out Suki's podcast, Invest Singh, where I also share tips on his Wellness Wednesdays segment. If you enjoyed this episode and haven't already subscribed, you can do so on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Coach_Colette for more inspiration on personal growth and wellness. Tune in next Friday for another episode and get ready to start within to finish strong.